Do you want to learn how to create an email list from scratch? Well, keep watching and I'll show you exactly how to do it. And for your information, it's not as hard as you think. If you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and do so by hitting the subscribe button and the bell to be notified every time I post a new video where I teach you how to start, build, and scale a successful and profitable online business. If you're new to my channel, my name is Rhonda M. Jordan, and I teach women how to monetize their knowledge and skills so they can learn to build successful and profitable online businesses. Today, I'm going to teach you exactly what I did to build my email list from scratch. I always believe that it's easier to learn information when it's broken down into sequential and logical steps. So today I'm going to give you 7 steps to walk you through the process of building an email list from scratch. Step number 1 is to identify 2 things. One is going to be your niche, and the second thing is going to be your ideal customer avatar. Now, I'm going to give you an overview of both of those, so don't worry if you're not familiar with how to do this. All right, let's start with your niche. Now, here's where a lot of people, especially new entrepreneurs, struggle. They don't realize that in order to attract an audience, you have to really get specific. So the way that you do that is what we refer to as niching down. Now, let me give you an example. Let's say your broad area is fitness. Well, that's really your industry. However, within that, if you want to attract and build an audience, one of the things you have to do is really get more specific. The reason being is if you're talking general terms or talking in general terms, you're really going to miss out on a lot of people. So within that, maybe you niche down and your niche becomes busy moms of toddlers. And what you do within that is you talk to them about fitness, healthy meals, and so forth, things that they can relate to and understand as a busy mom of a toddler. Another industry that you might be focused in on, maybe it's sewing. Well, sewing is extremely broad. You might be an excellent seamstress, but in order to attract an audience and to build an email list, you have to niche down. So your niche within that might be sewing for girls ages 4 to 7. That is a perfect way of getting very specific and being able to attract an audience that's going to be interested in that particular topic. Now, the second part of that is to really identify your ideal customer avatar. Now, just to give you some information on an ideal customer avatar, that is a specific individual within your audience. And quite frankly, that is who you want to focus on and create content for. Now, when we talk about an ideal customer avatar or ICA, that's really a fictitious representation of your perfect customer. So it's not a real individual. It's really more so that individual that you can look at and say, without a shadow of a doubt, you know what they need, you know who they are, you know what they're looking for, you know what their struggles are and what their problems are. Quite frankly, it is probably a previous version of yourself. And as a result of that, you know exactly what they're struggling with. So it's going to be very easy for you to create content for that individual. Step number 2. In this step, you're going to identify one platform and create valuable content for your ICA, and you're going to do that on a consistent basis. Now, this is really important simply because you want to really start thinking in terms of how can you help your ICA solve their struggles and problems. One of the best ways to do that is to simply think about what it is that they're struggling with, and you can do that in a brainstorm session. Now, I suggest you take a few minutes, take about 15 minutes, and just write down many of the things that you believe your ICA is struggling with. And then you can start to develop content around that. Now, the reason why I suggested one platform is you want your audience to have a place where they know they can always find you. Now, that one platform, it might be Instagram, it might be Facebook, could be YouTube. It really doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that you start with one platform and create that content on a consistent basis and make sure they look at it as valuable. And the best way for it to be valuable is for it to solve their problems. If they know that they can find regular, incredible content from you, you will naturally begin the process of building an audience. And as you build an audience, that really becomes the first part of the process of being able to grow an email list from scratch. All right, step number 3 is where you're going to create a lead magnet for your ICA that specifically solves just one problem. Now, if you're not really familiar with the process of building an email list, understand that in order for someone to agree to be on your email list, they're typically going to have to receive something that they consider to be valuable, and that's going to be your lead magnet. Now, once they identify your lead magnet and they see it as valuable, and again, valuable is going to be based upon whether or not they feel that it's going to help them solve a problem, they're more likely than not going to be willing to exchange their email address in order to receive your lead magnet. Now, I've created an entire video on creating your first lead magnet. You can watch it here. And I highly recommend that you do so because it's going to explain to you the entire process of creating your very first lead magnet. All right, step number 4, select an email service provider and get it all set up. Now, essentially what an email service provider is going to allow you to do is to automatically send out your lead magnet as well as follow-up email messages that you'll want to go out after someone requests your lead magnet. Now, in addition to sending out those automatic or autoresponder messages, what it's also going to allow you to do is to send out your weekly broadcast message. Now, it's recommended that once you start to build an email list, you have to communicate with them on a regular basis. You really want to make sure you are sending out a weekly message to your list so that you can develop the know, like, and trust factor. And in addition to that, it's going to help to build your authority. As you start to build your authority and as you continue to use it to provide even more valuable information, in time you're going to find that many of the people, your ICAs that are on your list, they will become very open to purchasing products that you may have to offer for sale. Now, let me just give you a couple of examples of email service providers that you can check out, and I'll link to those below in the description. You may check out Aweber or GetResponse or MailChimp or ConvertKit. Once again, check out the items in the description below where I have links to many of these, and you'll also be able to see the email service provider that I personally use and recommend. If this information is resonating with you, hit the like button. Also, I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know whether or not you've already started building your email list or when you plan to get started. All right, step number 5, we have to now give our audience a way of requesting our lead magnet. The best way to do that is either by creating a landing page, or if you have a website, you can add an opt-in form to your website. Now, by far, the easiest way is going to be the landing page. And the great thing about creating a landing page is most of the email service providers that I mentioned, they all have their own versions of landing pages built right into their websites. And all you have to do is customize them with your brand colors, add your lead magnet's picture, and then also some information regarding your lead magnet. So there's really no reason why you couldn't have a landing page up and running in a relatively short period of time. So make sure that you do this step because it is the way that you're going to be able to start exchanging your lead magnet for other people's email addresses. And of course, that's how you start building your email list. Now, step number 6 is where the real work comes in. This is where you're going to promote your lead magnet on a regular basis. So if you're doing a live video, you need to promote your lead magnet as part of your call to action or somewhere within the content. If you have a website, make sure you're promoting your lead magnet there. If you have posts that you're doing on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, always promote your lead magnet. This is how you're going to get more eyes on your lead magnet. And once again, the more people that see it that are within your target audience, the more individuals are going to request it. And ultimately, your email list begins to grow. Now, step number 7, here's where I suggest you create additional lead magnets that may be appealing to members of your audience. Now, here's what I mean. You're going to have some people that will begin to follow you, whether that's on social media or wherever, but they won't necessarily have subscribed to your email list. Maybe your original lead magnet really wasn't of interest to them, or they felt like they really had a handle on that. But if you create additional lead magnets, you have a better chance of getting those individuals to subscribe. Let me give you an example. I teach women entrepreneurs how to build successful and profitable businesses. Well, some of the strategies that I teach are things like list building, creating courses, creating products, digital products, for example. And also, I've even taught people how to create their first WordPress website. Well, some of the people that are in my audience, they may have no interest in building a website. Others may say, but you know what? I really like that information you have about creating your first lead magnet. Or they might say, I'd really love to learn how to grow my email list. So if you have additional lead magnets, you also have the opportunity of attracting people to you and getting onto your email list. And let's face it, that is our whole goal. It is not to just have relationships with people via social media, because we don't own those platforms. We want to make sure we get people off of those platforms and onto our list. Allowing them to get onto our list allows us to build a relationship with them and ultimately really attract those individuals that are ultimately going to become buyers of the products that we create. Okay, great. You have made it through the 7 steps. And now that you have made it through those 7 steps, I want to share something with you. And that is this: building an email list is a long game. You're not going to suddenly have 1,000 subscribers overnight on your email list. That is a rare individual that is able to accomplish that. So be patient in the process of building, and keep in mind that as an entrepreneur, marketing is part of what we do. And marketing is really testing and, changing things as we need to. So just commit to growing your email list and understand that when people make the statement, the money is in the list, it truly and really is. So it is worth the time and energy to invest into growing your email list. So are you ready to start building your email list? Well, if you are, I'd love for you to grab my free resource, Creating Your First Lead Magnet. That's going to get you well on your way to being able to at least have something that you've put together that your audience is going to find valuable. Now, you'll find the link to request your copy of that free resource in the description below. I look forward to you grabbing that copy and helping you to get your email list started, even if you're starting from scratch. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to be alerted each time I post a new video on how to start, build, and scale a successful and profitable online business. I'll see you in the next video.